Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So over the last couple days, we have been witnessing some pretty big moves being made from Hedera, and this all pertains back to tokenization. In a world where now stablecoins are growing astronomically, projected to be trillions of dollars by 2027, and not only that, but we start to see tokenization from the biggest players out there and being spotlighted by Congress and even the new presidential admin, I think it's time for us to really kind of take a step back and take the tokenization of everything as a big statement very serious. And we start to look at the networks that are capable of doing this at scale. Hedera is one that has always shined the brightest out of the majority, if you will, and it is because of the efficiencies tied back to the network. The option to actually infinitely scale when needed as well goes a long way. And when we think about that, right, we look at some of the announcements around Hedera, like for an example, this one from the 27th. That's really paving a way for Hedera to become that blue chip in the tokenization space. So let's actually look at this recent announcement. We're excited to announce that we've joined the ERC 3643 org association. Here we'll work with the association to help scale the adoption of ERC 3643, a leading industry standard for compliant RWA tokenization. The ERC 3643 token standard is an open source suite of smart contracts that enables the issuance, management, and transfer of permission tokens. Also known as the Token for Regulated Exchanges (TREX) standard, ERC 3643's attention to compliance has led to it becoming the go-to framework for institutions with high-profile companies such as Citi and ABN AMRO, tokenizing assets such as green bonds and even private equity. Other institutions such as the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the DTCC, have also recently joined the association to help contribute to its goals of promoting and advancing the ERC 3643 token standard. Now, this is very interesting because the DTCC has also been working with Swift on tokenization endeavors, and also you got to remember that they are settling $3 quadrillion worth of securities per year. By joining the association and supporting the TREX standard, we will support the growth and development of this standard through our deep experience in working with financial institutions on the Hedera Council. Alongside this, we will explore joint collaboration opportunities across the association and beyond to drive further institutional growth via ERC 3643 on the Hedera network. And by the way, that's another big thing, right? Institutional DeFi initiatives through institutional tokenization endeavors. The big thing here is scaling tokenization moves. So, for an example, BlackRock recently just surpassed $1 billion in the build fund. That's just $1 billion. And a lot of people think that that's huge, but when you think about a name like BlackRock, it's basically just a starting point. So to scale this, well, now you're starting to see the big partnerships happening in order to do so, like this one with the HBAR Foundation and ERC 3643. I'm very excited about this. But on top of this, right, if you actually go over to the website for ERC 3643, we could see that this is based around everything that we've talked about within like the big money use cases. Like for example, securities. Again, securities are they represent hundreds of trillions of dollars. The DTCC settling $3 quadrillion worth of securities per year should tell you everything you need to know about how big the securities market is. E-money, this is where you look at tokenized cash around like stablecoins, for an example, loyalty programs, RWAs in general. I mean, this is that standard that you really want to look into because it is being utilized by some big names out there. For an example, a lot of the founding members of the ERC 3643 standard include Apex, Archix, Avant Garde, Aztec Group, Bitstamp, Capgemini, CMS, Lol Tax Future. There's a few other ones here as well. DLA Piper, which is already partnered up with Hedera. They actually created Satilla, which is a huge platform to look into if you haven't already. But there's so many great names tied back to the ERC 3643 association, which is very exciting to see. And a lot of these players are already tapped in with Hedera, like Archix. So this is something that's very exciting to become a reality. And also, by the way, Greg Bell, who is an individual from Hedera, actually put out a post quoting this, saying that this partnership opens exciting new doors for the Hedera tokenization initiatives and collaborations with large-scale institutions. 2025 is going to be an exciting year. So now I do suspect that we will start to see some pretty large institutional players tapping into the Hedera network for tokenization endeavors. And this actually gets me thinking, because recently we also saw another big post from Hedera, and that was this one on the 27th regarding this April 2nd event, which was titled Taiwan Stablecoin and Tokenized Real World Assets Forum. And again, when we think about this, why is this interesting? It's not just about stablecoins, right? Because I've been talking about how stablecoins are becoming, a huge part of this market. They're going to be valued in trillions of dollars in just a few years. They continue to grow and move massive amounts of money every single year as well. No matter if it's a bear or bull market. Obviously, during the bull market, yes, a lot more money gets moved over stablecoins. But that's not the focus here. In fact, it's the type of stablecoin, which is the Taiwan stablecoin side. Why is this interesting? Well, if we go over here to 2023, spotlight how two Asian financial giants piloted EVM-compatible international remittances on Hedera. When we think about this, guess what these banks actually are? Well, one of them, aka Shinhan Bank, is Taiwan's largest financial institution and oldest bank in South Korea. It completed an international remittance pilot with the Hedera network, validating Hedera's viability for EVM-based stablecoin issuers everywhere. And of course, this was in collaboration with SCB TechX. The proof of concept pilot achieved real-time settlement and real-time foreign exchange rate integration across the Thai baht, New Taiwan dollar, and South Korean won. Again, focus on the connections that Hedera has, because this is huge. This is huge, and we're starting to see these connections beginning to play a big role. And they're becoming a huge piece of the puzzle for Hedera to become a massive name in and outside of the Web3 space. But also, this was 1 month prior to Hedera announcing the Stablecoin Studio. And even within the Stablecoin Studio, we know that, again, if we look down here, they announced this because of what PayPal was recently doing with their own stablecoin. And then also you saw, other players like JP Morgan, Shinhan Bank, SCB, TechX, which those two are already working with Hedera. And the largest financial institution in Taiwan recently announced the successful completion of a stablecoin remittance proof of concept on Hedera. So again, this was just another big move for them to really kind of say, all right, well, you know what? Stablecoins are becoming a huge piece of the market. We're already working with some of the biggest names already in this space, like Shinhan Bank. Why not do this? Why not announce this? That way, we know how big the stablecoin market's becoming. Why not have that all in one umbrella for any institution that really wants to launch a stablecoin on Hedera? And that's exactly why I still think that this is a huge deal. And also, ioBuilders. They are a key contributor to and user of the Stablecoin Studio. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because of this announcement more recently from the 12th. Financial institutions and enterprises face significant barriers when implementing blockchain technology, including complex regulatory requirements, lack of standardized development tools, and the need for enterprise-grade security and scalability. ioBuilders addresses these challenges through modular, production-ready solutions built on Hedera's enterprise-grade infrastructure, such as the Stablecoin Studio and Asset Tokenization Studio, pre-audited, customizable toolkits that enable institutions to deploy compliant digital assets while leveraging advanced features. And again, when we think about ioBuilders, they are a big institutional player. In fact, we even have here on their homepage, blockchain and DLT bring endless possibilities. Our goal is to leverage DLT where they can offer distinct advantages while making it accessible for institutions and corporations. Now, obviously, they're already working with Hedera on multiple major developments, like, for an example, the Stablecoin Studio. But I do believe that that's, just one small piece of, why they're tapped in with Hedera. You also have a lot of clients tied to ioBuilders like BBVA, which is a massive bank. You also have a few other banks on here as well. But it's crazy that, these are the names that are already tapped in with ioBuilders, and they are becoming a big enabler around the institutional side and the corporation side, aka the enterprise side, for DLT adoption. And I do think that this is where we start to see Hedera growing significantly in adoption around the institutional side, but also even the enterprise side for stablecoin initiatives, tokenization initiatives, you name it. But also, we have to announce what recently happened with Hedera, which was Hedera and XDC, which is another leading network in this space around tokenization, specifically around like trade finance. They're uniting on tokenization discussions. Big shout out to Genfinity.io for this. Ecosystem silos in Web3 continue to crumble as Hedera and XDC network join forces to discuss the tokenization of real world assets in our digital future. And this is actually an event that's happening. I believe that this is already happening. I think that this is live and it already happened. But this is very exciting because, again, when you look at the names tied back to this, you have some pretty significant names from like real estate, for an example, major venture companies as well. And talking more so about real estate, right? Like, this is a huge development. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to just jump from one thing to another. Like, this is a huge development because XDC is a big leading name out there around tokenization. They're becoming actually a huge name in terms of RWA tokenization. But real estate, we know that the founder and CEO of Red Swan Digital Real Estate recently put out a post on the 26th saying that they had a great tokenization discussion with individuals from the HBAR Foundation and additional companies. And this was at the Black Swan Summit in Perth, Australia. It seems as though Hedera is making their name known around the world, around tokenization discussions with some of the big heavy hitters in this space. We know that real estate is becoming a massive asset class to be tokenized because of how inefficient it is and also how illiquid it is. But when we think about all of these moves being made around Hedera, one common theme is starting to be reflected on almost every single one of these endeavors, which is the focus on institutions and enterprises. Even when we think about this ERC 3643, this is all based around institutional players, and it's to scale the adoption of tokenization. What better network than Hedera to do this on? This is why I keep telling you guys that even though price action might be stifled right now, even though price action might not be as positive right now, focus on these moves being made that's paving a path into the future for Hedera to become a leading RWA player in this space. And again, this is all around the big money use cases. This is no longer about just retail. This is big money use cases with names like Citi, ABN AMRO, BBVA, Shinhan, Standard Bank, you name it. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.